Internet.
Sup, internet. Word. You guys, I saw Mad Max. Anyway, I'll talk about that.
All right,
I
cool.
do want to talk about that. Okay. Intro. Everyone prepare the unique and special way you're going to interrupt me.
I'm being very good.
You are being very good.
Me
Thank you,
too.
Aaron.
I'm always good.
I'm way better than you.
Children, you're both terrible.
We love you too, Internet Mom.
Yay! It's the role I always wanted. I don't have kids. I just have friends on the internet. Okay. Hello. Oh no, I forgot the date.
Oh my god, it's May 17th. That means May 20th, right?
Yeah, I'm bad at adding. Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of Cat Context Podcast for May 20th, 2015. My name is Liore, and today we're going to talk about the new Assassin's Creed news and maybe some Final Fantasy 14 stuff. And if I can, I'm going to get in a little bit of talking about how awesome Mad Max was. But first, let me introduce my two co-hosts. It's Arolaide and Ellyndrial. Aro, I hear you had a special occasion today.
Today was the GUP's pre-K graduation ceremony, and I felt like Mr. Incredible because it was psychotic. It was adorable because tiny children in little caps and gowns is adorable, but it was psychotic.
Like pre-K, that's a lot of formal ceremony for pre-K.
Yeah, their kids are mostly 4 and 5, and it's time for the school year to end, and in 3 months they'll go to kindergarten, so they graduated from pre-K with little caps, with little tassels that say 2015 on them, and they sang songs about how they're moving up to kindergarten, and oh my god. Some other parents who are way better parents than me brought flowers for their children, and oh my god. My mother-in-law, who's a sweet lady, brought her a congrats grad present package.
What? So this is really a thing. This is a real thing that's going on.
It was a serious thing. There were 10 kids in the class, and there were grandparents everywhere, and seriously, I haven't seen this shit since my actual high school graduation. College graduation was not this big a deal.
That sounds like a heck of a weekend.
I'm so peopled out right now, you don't even know.
Well, thanks for joining us on this podcast.
You're not real people, you're internet people. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's true. We just live in your computer. Ellie, how's your weekend?
It was good. I actually started playing a game for my backlog.
What? You don't play games? You just...
I know, that is what I thought.
What, is it a new part of Borderlands 2?
You joke, but I almost think go back to play Borderlands somewhere.
On behalf of the podcast, thank you for not doing that.
No, I started playing The Last of Us, finally.
Oh, cool. How far have you gotten?
I'm like 50%, 40 or 50% according to the completion thing. Like maybe 5 or 6 hours in. And it's pretty bleak.
I didn't make it past the prologue of that game.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
I started the prologue and I was like, man, this girl is awesome. She's so much like the GUP. Holy shit! I'm done not playing this anymore ever again.
Yeah. So that happened to me too, except I already knew that was gonna happen, so it was a little bit less impactful as a new parent. But I think that there are a lot of games that I'm gonna have a lot more difficult time with because it's my first sort of your kid dies and now you have to go avenge their death or feel bad the whole game sort of plot since the baby was born. So that part was awkward, and now I have a little teenage pseudo daughter running around and I'm being all parenty towards her, and I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what you think as you get further. I feel like The Last of Us is good, but not as good as everyone makes it out to be. Like, it was part of that whole dudes get to a certain age and discover that women are people thing.
saving the princess to have sex with her. The princess they're saving is their kid.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it definitely has a bunch of that going for it. We'll see how it goes overall.
Nice. Well, that's a good bleak game to play with the family.
Well, the PlayStation 4 date that I've set for myself is coming up, and I didn't want to have to rebuy it, so I figured I need to at least play the last few games that I bought and really wanted to play on PS3 before it loses its HDMI input slot on the TV. So.
That's reasonable.
Like, it's fine, I'm not getting rid of it, but it's going to go in the closet because it can't be connected all the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then it's just a huge pain to drag it out. So yeah, I think that's probably a wise move. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is Assassin's Creed, because they announced the new one, which I have now totally forgotten what the name of it is. Arrow?
Syndicate.
Thank you.
Syndicate, yeah.
So the big news is that Ubisoft has gone back on their previous mistakes and is including a female character. Now, I do not know much about the game or about the character. I've only seen some drawings of her, and she has really good hats. But otherwise, Arrow, tell us about this.
That's me. I'm here for your Assassin's Creed edification. So what they're doing here is you've got two playable characters. It's a brother and a sister, and it's still, I think they said it was going to be something like, not like 70-30 missions would be the brother or the sister. And honestly, frankly, I'm going to have to buy it, even if it sucks. Probably especially because it sucks, or if it sucks, because even though I'm tired of Assassin's Creed at this point, because they're not really innovating, and the last couple have been so boring, but I'm going to have to buy it, and I'm going to have to play the shit out of it, because if this game tanks, they're going to blame it on her. And AAA studios will never put a female protagonist that isn't a big name, and by big name I mean Lara Croft, period, really, that's all we've got, again, because they'll say, but female protagonists don't sell. Look, we gave you one in a AAA title that we actually marketed, as opposed to Liberation, which no one ever heard about. And nobody bought it, so it's her fault. It's not because our game is a half-finished piece of shit. So, and that's... It sucks, but it's the same problem I have, like, with action figures. Even if the Star Wars figure is horrible, if it's a female character, I have to buy it, just so they know that it will sell.
You're right, and it kind of sucks that they're doing this right now to a franchise that is flagging, and so they're like, hey, everybody, here's something new and different. We put a lady playable character in it, and you're right. It does put those of us who care about this kind of thing in a situation where we might have to buy a game that we're not necessarily that excited about, if only to counteract those arguments that are going to come down the line otherwise. And you can't just say, well, no, actually Assassin's Creed is kind of not really doing too well right now.
Especially since the time period they're doing is Victorian England, which I think has been kind of played out. I mean, they've got, thousands and thousands of years of history they can go with in this franchise because of the way they've set up their mythology, and yet they're still sticking to Victorian England. I mean, come on.
It is overdone.
They don't even have to do Western history, although they keep doing that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they could go in a lot of different directions, and this one's like the most obvious. It's just too bad that it's the most obvious.
Right.
That's a really good point, actually. I would love to see an Assassin's Creed set in, like, a sort of a Chinese era or whatnot. And there hasn't really been
books.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. That's Ezio's protege was a Chinese assassin and also a lady. Unfortunately, I don't do comic books, so
Did
basically
you just buy them and leave them on your shelf?
Well, no, it's there's a long story involved. I don't do sequential art. storytelling. What I need to do is I need to win the lottery and hire people to take all of these great comic book stories that I'm supposed to be reading and novelize them for me.
That's a good $1 million plan.
Maybe I'll do a Kickstarter for it.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, the outfits they put together are really good, and this is like the superficial thing that I evaluate games based on. So they fully embrace kind of, wacky Victorian cloaks and whatnot. But you're right, Victorian's really overdone at the moment.
Well, I mean, there have even been like recent high-profile sort of stealthy beat 'em ups, right? Like Dishonored is a Victorian England, I think, right? And Thief also, at least one of the thieves is in that vein.
Yeah, I thought Dishonored was fantasy world that just happened to be basically Victorian England.
Okay, I'm sorry, it was steampunk.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's totally played.
I mean, I think steampunk is super cool, but only when they play up the steampunk aspects, because those are the parts that have seen less play, right?
And it's so frustrating because they can do better with this amazing world that they've set up. Like, the end of Assassin's Creed 3 set up this war with the gods, and then they just dropped it. And Juno is supposed to be destroying humanity as we speak. And nobody cares anymore. I want more white dudes doing white dude things.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's unfortunate they latched onto this franchise. They really feel the need to push out one a year, which I think hurt Unity last year a lot. And they just need to I think it's time for them to take a year off and sit back and look and really figure out what was great about this franchise and what they can do differently, because it just feels so formulaic right now. It's like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, every year in a Madden.
It's Call of Assassins Madden football.
Hockey.
Madden football, hockey, FIFA.
Also, I was just separately, I was told by an employee that we're supposed to call it Ubisoft.
Oh, Ubisoft. It's not Ubisoft, it's Ubisoft?
Yeah, it's apparently from
French people, whatever.
Apparently from Ubiquitous.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the exact noise I made. And then I was like, so how's it like to work at Ubi? So that's never gonna catch on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm just not terribly excited about that. That's actually something that we could talk about now. I've thought of a topic. We're already into the show.
You've thought of a topic half an hour into the show. Awesome.
I'm super behind on Assassin's Creed games anyway. I feel like
I totally just spoiled the ending of 3 for you, didn't I?
I don't care. I don't even 3 isn't even Ezio. I think I'm just gonna finish the Ezio series and be done with it.
You need to finish 3 for the Desmond bits, because I mean Desmond is so interesting on paper. It's super unfortunate that.
Yeah, what a boring ass character. Like, why didn't they just turn Desmond into a real life assassin at this point? That would even be interesting. Like, that's what Watch Dogs is, except it could be Desmond.
Well, that's the. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Hold on. Yeah. See, now you've done it.
Wow.
You were just making this a joke, like, "Oh, Arrow, you should talk about this on the podcast." Blah blah blah. Now here I am. I'm gonna nerd out about game lore, and nobody gives a shit. You're going to edit this out later because it's too boring for everyone. The reason why Desmond is interesting on paper, and the reason why this world mythos that they've set up is so cool, is that every assassin is descended from half-breeds, the progenitor creator race, who took the names of, well, gods have their names, interbred with the human slave caste. And so that's why assassins can jump from high places and not die, and they've got the eagle vision and all that shit. And Desmond is special because he's got assassin ancestry from both sides, and both of his parents have assassin ancestry from both sides. So he's got a higher concentration of progenitor DNA than, anyone else in the world. It's like 1 in 10 million people. And that's why he can do things like use the apple of Eden as a fucking smartphone flashlight.
As someone who's only played like the first 3 hours of Assassin's Creed 2, None of what you said had anything to do with the game I played.
Yeah,
That
that's
is.
'cause you didn't get to it. So like it
That's
takes.
why it's so cool.
So the first, I actually really liked the first Assassin's Creed game, even though like some of the combat and stuff was really janky, just because the story lore was super interesting. And it was set in the Middle East somewhere, so it was
Yeah.
a different setting than most
Jerusalem
games
and
too.
yeah.
Yeah, and it took about, I don't know, maybe like 3 hours or 4 or 5 hours. It took a while before you ever got out of the assassin world and into the sort of present, I think.
Right.
And but like once that
And then
happened, I was
finally
like,
the
what the
menu makes sense and
right?
everything.
I was like,
It
what
was
the
really
fuck is
coolly
going on?
presented.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really cool, and it seemed like a really interesting thing to explore. But like, Desmond's like just kind of boring. Like, I keep wanting him to be interesting and do interesting shit, and like he kind of like takes on like as he spends more time in the whatever chair it's called in the
The animus.
Matrix. Yeah, in the Matrix.
And animus.
In
It's
the
an animus.
Matrix.
It's an
So
animus.
he kind of does the same thing that Neo does, where he somehow is kind of a badass on the outside too.
Yeah,
And
that's because of his ancestry and that DNA concentration.
right, sure, but like it's
You don't
kinda,
care. See, I told you, nobody cares but
no,
me.
no, like that's fine, but like he's also spent all this
It's called
time.
the bleed effect.
Okay. He
And
spent
they
all
do
this
that.
time practicing. It's cool. It's cool. It's really neat. I kind of expected the series to end with a Desmond game after the first two.
3 pretty much is. It's more a Desmond game than not.
Because there were parts in two where like you played as
Where you
Desmond
run around
doing
Monte Regione, yeah.
yeah, in like an interesting way, right? Like, and was it two where there was like bad dudes after you, and you like had to like get up and escape, and like I don't
Right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually has assassin missions in 3.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's super, super cool.
Well, so
Well,
anyway,
super
it's
interesting on paper, and yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. Like the it seems like such an interesting thing they could have gone with, and they instead of even taking it as a 3 or 4 or 6 game series and telling a cohesive story, they've kind of like very much gone into the yearly release cycle. We don't give a shit about anything anymore, and that's sad to hear, especially since I'm behind. So now I kind of want to not catch up.
Well,
And like 3 or 4 years ago, these were real prestige games. It just sucks to see the franchise get kind of run into the ground.
Yeah, I don't know
it's
how
super
are
unfortunate.
they still big releases? I mean, I know 4 was. Like lots of
I
people
think
played the
so.
shit out of 4.
Yeah, and there
I
were
know
some
I know that you didn't
interesting.
like it as much, Arrow.
Well, the best parts about it's because it's because I really didn't like Edward at all. But I mean,
Mhm.
you're not supposed to. Like everyone in the game, it wasn't like one of those the hero is a dick, but you're still supposed to identify with him. Everyone in the game is like, dude, Edward, you are such a fucking asshole, and things happened despite him. And
Is 4 was 4 Black Sail, was the pirates or was that the
that was the pirate one.
Revolution?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 3 was the Revolution, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the Native American.
Oh right. It was the American Revolution and then the French Revolution.
Was Unity, right?
Unity.
And it was basic not a good story. Just
Right.
there were some cool parts in 4 in the real world, and they did some interesting things with the mythos, but not enough. And especially not since like, the end of 3 sets up the end of the world, and it. Why did you just leave that? Why? It's right there. What do you? Why would you shit on that?
Or just leave it, right? That's a totally legitimate option, is to just leave it and then let the reader figure it out on their own.
No, there's no way to figure this out on your own. There's just not. They didn't do anything. But I don't know what they did in Unity because I haven't played Unity because I don't care and I'm sad.
Well, we'll have to see what they announce. I imagine at E3 they're going to do a big announcement for Assassin's Creed, and we'll get more detail out of that.
Yep.
And we'll have to see how that goes. That'll be interesting. You guys reminded me of something that has made me angry about video games lately, so I figured I could share it with you, which is PT.
Why are you
Okay,
angry about PT?
Because it got
because
canceled.
no, not because it got canceled. I mean, that is too bad, but because Konami is taking
Oh
it off
yeah.
all the marketplaces, so you can no longer ever download PT ever again, and they're actually like revoking people who have already downloaded it. Like they're basically
No, that is not. Is that new? Because it wasn't like that last week. If you
that's
had it, you could
new.
keep it.
It
There
is
was this.
new.
They like have went back and forth on if you can have it, you can keep it. Because their original intent was they wanted to take it away from everybody, and then they sort
Mm.
of seemed to soften, and they may I don't know if they're back to that stance or not.
I
I
give
could be
it
wrong.
2 weeks before someone figures out how to rip it off their PlayStation hard
Well,
drive
yeah,
and releases it.
two weeks. People, you're not giving people enough credit.
But you know,
Well, I said a maximum of 2 weeks.
it is infinitely frustrating, and really to me highlights the importance of good archiving of video games. The fact that this game, okay, take away the whole fact that we're not going to get Silent Hills, okay, it hurts, but I'll get over that. But the fact that they can just like revoke this amazing piece of work, and so people can't play it. If I buy a PS4 in a couple months, I will never be able to play PT for myself. That sucks. That's
I
dumb.
mean, we've lived in that world of bullshit licensing your copies of your game for a long time. It's the Steam problem is the same way, and people's Steam libraries get revoked. And I think Steam has finally backed off a little, mostly because the German courts were like, "Fuck you guys, this is bullshit." I think it's usually the German courts these days, which is really weird. Uh, but um, yeah, I don't know. It's really shitty, and you're right about archival issues on top of ownership issues.
Definitely. And I think this might be the thing, because I mean, okay, people have been like, okay, Steam, DRM, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but when am I ever going to lose Steam? It'll have to be a catastrophe. Like, the world will be coming to an end for me to not be able to access my Steam games. And this is really the first time that I've really sat back and thought, hey, wait a second. This is some sort of crazy grudge match that a studio wants to get into. Like, say one of their key developers leaves and they hate them now. And we could lose access to our games. I never really thought about it before, and this has really put into light just the wacky things that could happen thanks to online DRM.
I mean, you could hack a game they don't want you to hack, or mod a game they don't want you to mod on Steam, and then Steam can revoke your license and tag you as a cheater, and then you can never play in any online games anymore, right? That is a thing that happens.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
it's unlikely
yeah.
for me to hack a game, so I
but
haven't.
you could, but modding. I mean, like people used to get banned from Counter-Strike for mods, some of which were legitimate-ish, and some of which weren't. And, well, I mean, I'm not talking about aimbots and wall hacking and stuff like that, but like certain texture or models and stuff would flag people as VAC non-compliant, and that sucks because that game was a fucking mod and was built on the back of hundreds of modders, and the fact that you lose those kinds of things is really shitty. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm sure. I think this kind of goes back to the Steam Workshop mod sales thing too. And one of the things that people were really wary about is putting more of the control of that stuff in the hands of Steam as opposed to the community. Um, I
And
mean,
Steam,
like we kind of trust Valve, I guess, but like we really shouldn't.
I do trust
They
Valve,
have a
whether I
they
should or
have a
not, but
reasonable track record. They're like Google. Most people reasonably trust Google, and you really shouldn't trust Google. And like if you live in the EU, you can attempt to get out of Google, but they keep denying those people too. I don't know if you heard about that, but like, um, I mean, these like we are simultaneously the consumer and the product, right? And it's a really shitty position to be in. for us.
It is, and this is the first example that I've seen of a high-profile game basically get removed from public consumption because of an internal squabble. It's not even something that a player did. A player didn't install mods or whatever. They're just like, we don't like you anymore, Kojima. No one can play this game anymore.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a little weird because it's not that different to me, I guess, from somebody pulling a video off YouTube. Like, if a studio pulled a trailer off of YouTube, it's not that different, but it feels different than that. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. I feel like this is going to get people. This is going to be a push to get people really not liking DRM. The fact that you can't. I mean, it's ludicrous.
This is not going to be that push.
No, this isn't
There
going
have
to be
been
that
so
push.
many worse things than that. Like,
Yeah.
fucking SimCity came out like
Yep.
2 years ago, and people literally couldn't play their fucking game because they couldn't get their shit together.
And before that, Diablo 3 had the same problems.
Right, and I mean, like, is not the first. It's definitely not the most high profile. I don't
mean, it
think
means
this is
more
what-
to us because we're survival horror fans, and by us, I mean me and Liore because Ellie, you don't count. But we're a super niche market.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I guess the fact that this is because of a spat between a developer and a distributor makes it seem unique, but you're probably right that a lot of people won't care.
Well, it is. I think it is a little bit unique in that because usually in those cases they don't take away all of that developer's content from the internet, right? That's pretty fucking petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I wonder if they're going to start doing copyright strikes against videos on YouTube. I feel like that's probably the next step, like PT playthroughs.
Ooh, wow. Because especially since they've already agreed to Let's Plays and that kind of thing, they have legal rights for those. It's fair use. Wow, that's going to be ugly.
That will be. I mean, if we're looking at it is not unlikely that a year from now there is no more evidence of PT aside from, illegal Daily Motion videos. It's bizarre. It's such a good game. Oh, it makes me so angry. Okay, I'm better now. I'm not totally over the loss of Silent Hills yet.
I kind of am because I don't think there's any way Silent Hills could have been better than PT. And I say that as a Silent Hill fan, because that was just such a perfect encapsulation of classic survival horror. Because if you think about it, survival horror has gotten to the point where it's just like any other shoot 'em up. If you think about like the AAA Resident Evil releases lately, the last couple of Silent Hill games, they haven't been what you expect out of a survival horror game. They've been, I don't know, survival horror for dude bros.
I mean, even The Last of Us, which is what I'm playing right now, right, is like in the survival horror genre, but is not survival horror.
Right.
Not even like early Resident Evil games, which I played. Like, those games were terrifying and were all about were way more on the horror side of things.
Right.
And The Last of Us is like a shooter with ammo scarcity, basically. The closest thing I can think of, and actually a really good example of modern survival horror, is Alien Isolation. That
Yeah, I can see that.
That game is just about the sort of terror. You don't even have a gun. Like, all you get to do is hide. You literally have a hide button, and that's about it. So.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that there's no way the Silent Hills could be as good as PT. I think, and not only that, it's just difficult to sustain that level of terror over an extended period of time.
Right.
It's like how short movies or half-hour shorts are always more intense when they're horror than 2 hours long, because you can't do that for 2 hours. People will die. They will die.
And short stories are the same thing. It
Yeah,
takes an entirely different kind of artist to make a short than, damn it, words how do they do and not make me sound like an idiot. But you know what I mean.
Than a big.
Yeah, short and a long.
Feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah. It's interesting. I think it sucks that I will not be able to play PT and that they're pulling it off. That's what I get for not having a PS4.
Played it at all?
I have no console
Oh
thingy
my
to play it on.
god. Well, if they don't take it away, you can come to my house.
Thanks, Sarah. Can you bring
And drink
your
beer and
PS4?
play
You
PT
can
with
visit
me.
later this year. Bring your PS4 with you. Just pack it
I don't think Mr. Arrow will allow that, but
Yes.
He's not gonna have any time. He's gonna have kids on his hand.
that's true.
That's very true.
I think he's probably going to ship them off to the in-laws.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
that's a
That's
good
plan. It's a vacation for everybody. Speaking of the PT, of course, that was a collaboration with Guillermo del Toro, and news came out that Guillermo del Toro's company, anyway, is in some way responsible for parts of Fallout 4.
Don't care.
You're off the show. That's it. You're out. You're out of the show. How can you not care? Fallout is amazing. Fallout's a great game.
We've talked about how I play Fallout before, which is like I dick around for like 15 minutes, accidentally shoot the guy at the gas station, or like
Who just wants to help you.
I like picked something up, and then he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he starts shooting me, and then I can't get the starter quest anymore because that was the guy, and now I have to like wander around the world looking for people to talk to me. But everybody hates me because I opened fire in their town because some guy already shot me in the face, and then I never play a game.
I have never played Fallout, and I don't think I'm ever gonna.
I mean, plus I am way too fucking old and busy for like 100-hour open world games.
I don't do well with open world games as a rule. I like to explore, but I really, really need like guidance in my exploration.
Yeah. Okay. So Talon and I were having this conversation in relation to Dragon Age Inquisition, specifically, because she's playing that. She's in the hinterlands and she's doing the holy shit, the world's so big, I could do anything, and gonna get stuck there forever, like a lot of.
Don't get stuck in the hinterlands. Don't get stuck in the hinterlands. Don't fall into that trap.
Like I was saying with The Last of Us, which I've been playing, like I really like exploring all the rooms and all the houses, but still being on a semi-linear path. Like that feels explory enough. I can like go find the things in the corners and the secrets without having to like literally have no idea of where I should go next.
I found Dragon Age Inquisition to be just about the right combination of those things once you get out of the hinterlands, which are huge, and you will never make it out if you don't make a real effort to do so.
Well,
but because it is open world, but there is sort of a plot line, and there are quests to be done, and you can kind of do what you want to do when you want to do it, but with guidance of, okay, well, these zones are in my level right now, or I haven't finished this at that zone yet. And so it's structure with a little bit of open world.
Yeah, I always did well with GTA games because they were kind of the same way. The story guides you through, and then you can like run around and do a bunch of shit for a while, but you can always go back to the story and go to the next place.
Right.
Fallout doesn't have that, as far as I can tell. Maybe there's like one ongoing story quest, but like it kind of stops for a while, I think.
There is a consistent story quest, but there's also a whole huge open world out there.
I don't know. It just feels too big and scary, and you know, fundamentally, I want to be a shut-in playing video games, not exploring the wilderness.
Getting eaten by bears in the hinterland.
Darn those bears! Those bears are too high level.
Bears. Well, the hinterlands it's really 3 zones. There's the level 3 place where you start, and the level 8 place, and then the level 12 place as you go farther out. But it's not 3 different maps is the problem. But still, tell her to get out of the hinterlands and go flirt with Cullen. She'll thank me.
For people who do care about Fallout, though, which is a lot of people who may not be on this podcast, but do exist, the news that Guillermo del Toro is involved somehow.
Do you have a sock puppet?
She's talking about Vajra in case he walks in the door. She's got to like back up Fallout.
No, lots of people like Fallout. Okay, it's not. I'm not just talking about. And I like the idea of Fallout. I don't actually like
So
playing.
do I. It looks awesome.
Yeah, well, it's a cool game, and it hasn't been out for a while, and
I'm,
maybe I'll like this one. I don't know.
I'm super glad Fallout exists.
I am glad Fallout exists. I'm glad that someone smart like Guillermo, have a easier to pronounce name, Guillermo del Toro, is going to be involved with the cinematics, because I think that bodes well for the game, and
Maybe.
it should be kind of cool to see. What do you
I
mean,
got-
maybe? Woohoo!
Well, so he's involved with just the cinematic parts?
Just the cinematic parts.
Okay, then that's fine, because, like, as long as he, like, really weird shit. Because he always does really weird shit.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, it's Fallout. It's, post-apocalypse rad mutants.
Right. Yeah.
Rad mutants, as in.
Like radiation.
As
rad.
in
And
radiation.
also, and also rad.
They are rad mutants.
Wow.
English is
Yeah, no,
strange.
because so that's better, because if he's sort of, it's always weird when there's a crossover between storytelling mechanisms, right? Because video games don't tell stories the same way that movies do. So I always wonder whether people can switch between the two of them well. And has anybody ever?
I have a man who'd like to speak with you about that, and his name is David Cage.
What? Okay, go on.
Well, I think he is constantly trying to make video game storytelling the same as movie storytelling. That seems to be kind of his thing.
Except not.
And not as in it doesn't work, or as in...
No, so the next game on my list is Beyond Two Souls, which is the other one sitting under The Last of Us on the shelf. But I mean, my feeling about him, I mean, David Cage is kind of full of himself in a lot of ways when you listen to him talk. But from a storytelling perspective, it is a much more directed experience, absolutely, than a lot of games. But he does a lot of work, or the games of his that I've played do a lot of work to immerse you more than a movie does. Because a movie you're watching and sympathizing with the characters on screen, but in a game, and in a David Cage game too, and especially Heavy Rain, you are the main character. And so that is a really different, I don't know, it's a really different perspective, I think.
But that's actually interesting, because I think you're not the main character so much in Beyond Two Souls.
I don't know. I'll talk about it when I get there.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. We'll have to.
Well, that was the thing I really liked about Heavy Rain, at least, is that they did a lot of work to sort of put you in the shoes of whichever character you happen to be playing, and mostly the dad dude. I can't remember his name. And I can never play that game again either. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Parenthood. No, I take your word for it. Not me. Yeah. I like games where kids die.
That was a good face. I kind of want to gift that.
Anyway, I think the bigger point is that there are definite differences. So it would be really interesting to see how a successful movie producer, directed video game. If Guillermo del Toro actually directed a video game, it would be interesting to see how it came out.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Hooray.
Hooray.
You wanted to talk about rad mutants, and I wanted to call this out when Era was talking about having to buy the new Assassin's Creed game, but you went and saw Mad Max.
I did go and see Mad Max.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it in the theater.
Wow.
But I almost bought a ticket just to boost its opening weekend numbers. And then I didn't. But I almost did.
I think it's interesting that it apparently domestically in North America it got blown out of the water by Pitch Perfect 2, which just goes to show that there were a lot of ladies and movies this weekend in the box office, so that's cool. Mad Max Fury Road was so good. It's so good. I'm actually already planning on going back to see it again. and that is something I almost never do in a movie theater. Only this time I want to go to like a IMAX or something. I'd like to see it even bigger. It's frenetic. It's so, like, just from go, it's action. There's not a lot of dialogue. I mean, it's not...
It's a Mad Max movie.
It's a Mad Max movie, but I'm so used to people doing modern versions, modern takes on movies, and they lose the essence of what made it great. And this time, I mean, clearly it's the same director as the first time, but he just took what made the original movies great and just made them even more. There is more action.
To 11?
It did get turned up to 11. It goes louder. It's really, really cool, and Charlize Theron is really, really kick-ass. Yeah, and there's this cool scene where they have to shoot some dudes off in the distance. The plot, I mean, there's not much plot to this movie, so I'm not giving anything away. And he is trying. They've only got 3 bullets left, and they're a really good gun. And he lets off 2 shots. And realizes that he is a crappy shot, and Charlize Theron's character Furiosa, which is a hilarious name, Furiosa. Why would you name your child that? Like, I feel like you're really setting her out for a life of anger. Furiosa is a better shot than he is, so he like stops and gives her the rifle, and she uses his shoulder to like get steady to shoot, and she successfully lands the shot. But it's just like, gosh. It's such a good scene, and you just don't see scenes like that. And oh yeah, they run into a group of old fighting women called the Volvini.
Apparently, the old lady biker gang did all their own stunts.
That's amazing. The old lady biker gang, they were really cool, and yeah, it was great. It was action freaking packed movie, start to finish. Just what you want to go. It was what an action movie should be.
So they used the Steadicam, you're saying?
I guess, yeah. No, I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love cheesy action movies. They are some of my favorite things in the whole wide world. But ever since, God, who started this? The Bourne movies. They are lazy, and instead of spending time on choreography and cinematography, they just use these frenetic quick cuts, and it's totally spastic, and you can't focus on anything, and it sucks. And that makes me sad.
There are some quick cuts in this movie, I think that's fair to say, but I also think it is also very well choreographed. And the whole like imaging, the cinematography, the costume design, the little details they put in to really make you feel like this is seriously the desert wasteland of the future is amazing. And just like like big trucks full of people banging on drums, and it's so exciting. It's really good. Everyone should go see it.
How does it compare to the earlier ones?
It's more action than the earlier ones.
Really?
Yeah, because Road Warrior's a little calm, I think, until like the last 20 minutes. It's like if the last 20 minutes...
because they only had like a $22 budget.
Right. It's like the last 20 minutes of Road Warrior over the whole movie. That's what it is.
Okay.
They're just like, forget this whole building, setting the scene, building tension stuff. Right out of the gate, we're going for it. And Tom Hardy, who I am not necessarily that enamored with, was actually really good. And he had very little dialogue, but he still managed to effectively communicate, I am a crazy hobo desert post-apocalypse man.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Because he is. He's a little. He's kind of. Yeah. There's stuff out there in the desert.
It's hard out there for a pimp?
It is. It's hard out there. No, well, yeah, I guess that's suitable for the movie. And Nicholas Hoult, who played the Beast, he was like About It the Boy and About a Boy, and he played Beast.
Yeah.
And, the new...
I cannot handle how old he is now. I can't do it.
It's pretty messed up.
He plays one of the war boys, aka one of the kind of desert. I'm trying to think, post-apocalypse war people, and he shaved his head, and he's
More
all like
people.
more people. He shaved his head, and he's all like in face paint, and he's covered in like crazy tattoos, and he is freaky as hell. And I did not expect that from him. So
Sweet.
He was in
Sounds
About a
awesome.
Boy.
I've never
That
seen
is the
About a Boy.
kid- Oh,
I've never
man.
seen. Oh, it's really good.
It
It
looks
is really
Horny
heartwarming.
novel. It's really good.
Ugh.
What?
It looks
Remember how
heartwarming.
she doesn't like sappy things either?
Nicholas Hornby isn't sappy. Not Nicholas Sparks, you guys. Jesus Christ.
That is an important distinction.
I'm not disagreeing with you about a Boy. I thought About a Boy is awesome, but
It looks touching.
No.
Am I going to learn things about life
No.
while I watch
No.
it? 'Cause I hate that.
No. Nicholas Hornby is a satirist. It's not.
All right, well, that's more interesting then. But I did not see About a Boy, but I have seen Nicholas Hoult, and I really thought he and Jennifer Lawrence were going to make it, you guys. I just don't even know. But
Long distance relationships are really hard, especially when people steal your private pictures.
that's true. Yeah. So that's what I did this weekend. I saw that. But what else I did this weekend was I got to 50 in Final Fantasy, so I'm finally level capped. Oh my god. Last night.
For the next, 3 months? 2 months? Month.
6
3
weeks.
weeks.
wait, on one of your classes or jobs or
One job,
whatever
yeah.
they're called.
Yeah, but that's, I mean...
Well, that doesn't.
So that doesn't count because it's like that's like in Star
doesn't
Wars
count.
Galaxies. That's like saying in Star Wars Galaxies, I got one of my trees to the top. That's bullshit and doesn't mean
Yeah, it doesn't
anything.
actually mean anything. Yeah.
Okay, FYI, no one actually knows what you're talking about, because
We do, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
your references are out of date, old man. No.
Whatever, Mom.
Okay, that's fair. No, I counted. I mean, it takes a lot to get to your first 50, and then it's faster after that because I think you get a buff to your leveling speed after that, and you can start doing all the end game 50 stuff. So a whole new world of stuff has opened up to me. So it's kind of cool. I'm excited that I was counting. This is like the 4th MMO I've actually gotten to level cap. So
You can grind all sorts of shit.
yeah, that's the whole point of MMOs. What even are you talking about? I also watched like a whole season of Catfish while I was leveling yesterday. So
Oh my god, that show is real?
yeah, man.
I seriously thought it was like an Onion article.
No, it's for real. They took the movie and now they make it a TV show where they fly around America and introduce people to people who are not who they think they are.
Wow.
But the people who host it are really, really, really nice, and I kind of like that. And hot. Anyway, yeah, so I watched Catfish and played Final Fantasy, and now I'm at 50, and which means I can start doing rep, and all these dungeons have opened up, and I can glamour my clothes, which is the most
So
important thing.
that part's cool, but like really fucking rep. Come on.
Yeah, because I want
It's
mounts.
2015. We don't need goddamn rep. Go away. Rep is the worst.
It's a... it's
I have
optional.
to grind. I have to grind stupid ass rep in Destiny. It sucks. Why is reputation still a thing? Just give me my
Because
fucking
Because
gun.
making fake people fake like you is important.
No,
Just
not
give me-
like.
okay,
like-
you just answered your own question. You're like, just give me my fucking stuff. That's why you can't have it.
No, so if they want me to kill like 100,000 guys, tell me you want me to kill 100,000 guys because that's all the rep grind is anyway. It's that thinly masked. Just tell me what to fucking do. I'll do it. Then you can give me your gun. If you're a cool person and you talk to me differently as I'm gaining rep, that at least makes you a little bit interesting. But none of this like, oh, this turn-in is exactly the same as your first turn-in, and now you can buy that stupid gun. Fuck you. Just give me the gun.
Okay.
All right. That's okay. Good. I am going to be grinding rep.
Me too. Me too, Nick. It's
I
gonna be awesome.
One of the if you grind rep with the kobolds, they give you a palanquin that's held up by bombs in Final Fantasy, and I really want that, so they will carry me around everywhere, and then I'll feel very fancy.
Why don't they just help you make it?
I don't know, maybe they do. I don't know. I don't hang around with kobolds. I got better things to do. Yeah, so there is, I mean, like anything else in Final Fantasy, it is grindy. You know, the usual warning. If you don't like grinds, don't play Final Fantasy 14. But if you do like grinds, there's a lot of them, and it's cool.
Also, if you don't like not knowing where you're going, even when the map tells you where you're going, don't play Final Fantasy 14. Their map is so bad.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't even argue with that.
So bad. I like Final Fantasy 14. It was fun, but I'm not playing that anymore because I'm going to play Star Wars as soon as I call EA and get my authenticator reset.
I'm just shaking my head. For the people just listening, I'm shaking my head. No, that's cool. I'm glad you're going to play Star Wars because then you can talk about it on the podcast.
I just want to play BioWare story time.
I'm on
What's wrong with that?
Shadowlands, by the way.
I know where to go. I don't know which side to be on. Which side should I be on?
Well, that depends on which story you want to play. I have a guild on both.
All right. It's like I haven't called EA. I tried like 4 iPhones to find my authenticator, and apparently it doesn't work on any of them. So that's awesome.
I like the way you say you just want BioWare story time, but it took you 6 months to start Dragon Age Inquisition.
I didn't start.
He's not even playing it.
I just don't even. I don't even.
You know what has happened in the last 6 months? All of those 6 months have had a baby in my house.
I have 2. Suck it up.
Your babies are.
You are in
than
the
mine.
easy part right now.
My babies don't sleep. My baby doesn't sleep at all.
Well, then you're doing it wrong, and you're a failure. Seriously, the first 6 months are the easiest part. All the baby does is sleep and eat. I still rated at 6 months. It was awesome.
My baby does not sleep. We've had a different first 6 months.
Well,
that's true. You did still raid.
Plus 3 of my months were in a hospital.
You know what it is? It's because you have a boy, and boys suck.
I don't doubt that.
My favorite story arrow is
are
when
kind of assholes.
You were pregnant with the gup, and then you messaged me in the middle of the raid. You're like, I have to go. I just threw up all over myself.
That was a bad time.
All right. That is an excellent reason to leave mid-raid.
There was indeed a time early in my first pregnancy where I couldn't even brush my teeth because the toothpaste was so disgusting. It didn't even matter what toothpaste it was. Basically, being pregnant sucks. Don't do it if you can get away with it. Basically, just buy a baby on the black market. It will be cheaper and easier for everyone.
That's cool. Yeah, there you go. And
Sounds
awesome. On that note, now that we have recommended that people buy their babies on the black market, I feel we could really wrap up this episode. Yeah, that's it. Arrow and Ellie, do you have anything else to add to the end of this podcast?
Yeah, I want to say that I watched the first episode of Daredevil and it was super good.
It's Charlie Cox. I'm having trouble with that.
Charlie Cox being the main character dude?
Yes.
The kid from Stardust, except now he's like 20 years older and has a
and totally ripped, and his American is amazing.
And he has the I'm Batman voice. I was talking about how his voice doesn't sound anything like it did in Stardust, and he's
that's
totally doing this
spectacular.
He's also doing the like deep, low, slow. I'm definitely not a superhero guy's voice.
Have I mentioned yet that now people are so backlashy against superheroes and Avengers that it actually makes me want to go see the movie?
Don't go see Avengers. It's not worth it. It would be better. Here's the way.
I'm irritated that everyone else has jumped on the cool "we hate superheroes" bandwagons because now I have nothing.
All those people are wrong. All those people are wrong.
Here's the best way to experience Avengers 2 is go to Tumblr and search Avengers 2 GIF. And you'll get gift sets of the good parts of the movie. And I'm serious, that's how I felt when I left the theater. It felt like a 2-hour-long gift set because there were some character beats and particular scenes that I thought were awesome, but there was no movie holding it together at all. It was an extended gift set.
I know everyone is writing all these like think pieces about how superheroes are overdone and over, and I'm like, that was me
Can we talk
3
about
weeks
Supergirl,
ago.
though?
3 weeks ago, I was on top of this. Yes.
Let's talk about Supergirl and how fucking amazing that trailer looked, and how everyone bitching about how it wasn't gritty enough needs to shut the hell up and sit the fuck down.
I didn't even know there was a Supergirl trailer.
Oh, it looks so great!
Where did they like show it in front of Ultron?
No, it's a TV show.
Oh. That's
So
cool.
it was they had a big old 6-minute first look in front of the upfronts. And it looks super charming.
In front of what now?
The upfronts, these are the shows that we're going to be airing next fall. Please give us all your advertising dollars. It's basically E3 for television.
Okay.
I saw a trailer for Jurassic Park before Fury Road.
I watched the Jurassic Park trailer. Yeah.
Jurassic World, you
Jurassic World looks awesome.
No, it doesn't. It
mean? What?
doesn't.
With the Elasmosaurus? How can you not? How?
Because they look at each other and they're like, super genetic dinosaurs. Why can't we just stick with regular dinosaurs? And I'm like, no, that's just too self-aware. You need to listen to your own movie.
They totally like call back the
But
first
there's an
movie, too.
Elasmosaurus in the park. Dude, you were listening to dialogue? Why were you listening to dialogue?
Like they're communicating, and I'm like, oh my god,
No,
really? There's
no.
smart dinosaurs now? Oh, stop it! Just stop.
There actually were some really smart dinosaurs with very large brain pans. And okay, see,
They're raptors.
guys, no, stop.
Oh,
You already made me go into Assassin's Creed world mythology. Don't make me dinosaur.
All right, this episode is over.
And the title's going to be "Don't Make Me Dinosaur," isn't it?
Don't make me dinosaur. That is a great title for this episode. Yes, that's it. We'll be back in 2 weeks where we will upset Arrow about other things.
and have episode 69, part 7.
Don't even understand why that's still funny. Why is it still funny?
Because of that. Right there. Because of that.
Damn it! I get that a lot. Anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks with more stuff. Thank you, Ellie and Arrow, for coming on the show. And maybe in 2 weeks we can talk about E3 and what we're looking for at E3.
Oh yeah, E3 is in July.
June 13th.
Holy
Then-
shit, where's the year gone?
So think about it. We'll talk about E3, and that's going to happen. So until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Wow, the hand gestures.
It's gonna be
Wow.
awesome at the beginning of the next episode when we're like, what the hell are we gonna talk about?
Okay, that's it. I'm stopping broadcast. Bye.